Welcome back to MSA Strong. I'm David Knox, and this is the video you want to watch. I don't know how many times, it's countless. People ask everywhere on social media and in person, do I have MSA? The worst advice you can take is to ask someone on Facebook. There are some very niche, group chats and websites that you can go to and get information on it, but you can't trust everybody, is what I'm trying to say. The Movement Disorder Society has the guidelines. It's been updated twice, and the last one was in 2022. This is 2024. That takes you step by step to see if you in fact do have it, might have it, or can have it. It's very simple. Don't ask other people when you can look for yourself. Now, obviously, some of these things need tests. Some of these are clinical features seen at doctor's offices, but this is what they go by. So if you want to see things and get an answer for yourself, this is the only thing you should go by. Not even by what I say, but by this website, this document. Okay? So we'll start backwards. This is the first one we're talking about here is possible prodromal MSA. Maybe. Far-fetching, maybe down the road. We don't think so, but that's what this is. That's what this first page is. And if you look, it says clinical features, non-motor features, right, in the doctor's office. RBD, REM behavior disorder, is the de facto for Parkinsonisms and Parkinson's, right? Not Parkinson's plus diseases and Parkinson's. If you have REM behavior disorder, you are almost guaranteed to at least have Parkinson's, let alone MSA. All right? People with MSA and Parkinson's will get RBD up to 10 years or more before you actually get the disease. It's a leading indicator. So if you have RBD, that's one. Neurogenic orthostatic hypotension is another one. And you hear many different descriptions of NOH. What is NOH? Well, it tells you a 20 or 10 pressure drop within 10 minutes of standing or sitting down. There's different types of orthostatic hypertension. Some are 30 and 15. This one says 20 and 10. So if you take blood pressure monitors and you take tests, sitting up, sitting down, laying down, and you see this, and you can repeat the tests, right? Scientifically repeat them, there you go. But you only need one of these. The other one is urogenital failure, right? Erectile dysfunction in males below 60, because the older we get, the more we're not able to use our privates. So that's just simply the way it is. So a male who is 75 having erectile dysfunction would be actually pretty normal for the age, okay? So that's one of those things. It talks about even unexplained voiding difficulties, post-void urinary residue volume, and unexplained urinary urge incontinence. Now, these are some tests, some items that can be proved with tests. I have all of those, right? So for me, this possible prodromal MSA, I have RBD tested and verified. I have NOH tested and verified. Even worse than that one. And I have everything on subtopic 3, bullet point 3. All of those I have. Okay? And then it talks about clinical motor features. Do you have subtle Parkinsonian signs? Today, I am shaking. I am tremoring all day long. I haven't had these tremors in a long time. That is a type of Parkinsonism. It also talks about subtle cerebellar signs. Cerebellar. I'm speaking slurred. Slurred. I'm looking drunk. I'm talking drunk. I appear drunk. Those are cerebellar signs, right? Cerebellar intoxication, toxic, right? Those are the signs. Exclusion criteria, right? There are some things here. Talking about olfactory testing or abdominal cardiac sympathetic imaging, fluctuating cognition with pronounced variation of intention. There's several things here that will rule out MSA. Like one of those things is hallucinations. If you have hallucinations, you do not have MSA. You never have MSA. The only way you can have MSA and hallucinations is if the hallucinations is separate from MSA, such as from medication or another condition that you have in relation to MSA. but completely separate. Is it possible? Yes, it's very rare, but it's more likely that you don't have MSA, but you have something else, maybe PSP or whatever. Okay, so for possible prodromal MSA, like it's just starting, this is what you have. Okay, now for the rest of us, you have two categories here. You have clinically established MSA and clinically probable MSA, right? Probable is we're not sure yet, but we think you have MSA. And clinically established is you fit all the criteria, you have MSA. And remember, the only way to verify you have MSA is after death, post-mortem. Now, there is a possibility you can see a hot cross button sign on your brain while you're still alive, but that would mean you're so far advanced with MSA, you're practically a vegetable. Is it possible to see that sign on your brain while you're still alive? Absolutely, but you're very advanced. This usually happens after death. They go in, they do autopsies, they do MRIs, and they scan the brain, and they see the hot cross button sign. That's really the only way. That's why you say clinically established and probable, because we don't know until we die if they do an autopsy. And at that point, does anybody really want to do an autopsy? It just depends, right? So, clinically probable, right? We think you have it, but we're not sure. You have to have at least two of the following autonomic dysfunctions as defined by unexplained voiding, right? Post-forward urinary residue volume, unexplained urinary urge or incontinence, and neurogenic orthostatic hypertension. Just one of those three. Voiding, number 2, urinary urogenic bladder, right? Number 1, and orthostatic hypertension, neurogenic. Just one of those puts you in the probable category, but you also have to have at least one of the next. Parkinsonism and cerebral syndrome. And there are a lot of Parkinsonisms, right? People with Parkinson's look and operate and talk and walk certain ways. So there is a long list of Parkinsonisms that you can fall under to meet just that number 2. And also the cerebral syndrome, right? Gait ataxia, how you're walking. Limb ataxia, how you don't swing your arms when you walk. Cerebellar dysarthria, right? Oculomotor features. Double vision, dry eyes. Double vision because of dry eyes, because of MSA is telling you not to blink, and double vision because your eyes are not focusing because of the burn of MSA. You just need one of those. Most people with MSA walk and talk and they look like they're drunk. Facial masking, like I have, the slurring, the eyes don't go very much up, going north, going above you. There's a lot of signs that tell you that you have the cerebral syndrome and these Parkinsonisms, right? Supportive clinical motor or non-motor feature skills, at least one of, on the next page right here in the middle, stridor. Stridor is that high-pitched sound when you're breathing, usually on your back, usually it's sleeping. Right? I have a camera on me at sleeping all night long because I want to know when it starts. When stridor starts, you're getting very close to the end with MSA. Stridor is very bad for your MSA. That means your passageways are narrowing too much. You're soon to die. So stridor is one of those things you need. So just one. Stridor, inspiratory size, cold, discolored hands and feet. I had several people tell me that cold hand sign and cold feet sign was not a sign of MSA. I said, have you checked the Movement Disorder Society's website for what the features are? Yes, it is. I have many videos of my black and purple feet and even hands from time to time. I also have peripheral neuropathy because of it. So yes, it is included. If you wonder why your feet are always going purple and black in relation to cold or hot or just any time of the day, that's why. The brain does not help with the blood flow like it used to. Again, I'm 44. Erectile dysfunction below 60 years old. That's not normal at all. Pathologic laughter or crying. There are times when you will see people with MSA randomly have inspiratory sighs, out of nowhere. And you also have crying and laughing like we're going crazy for absolutely no reason. And those are supportive non-motor functions, right? So if you have any of those supportive non-motor features, it just reinforces that you probably do have MSA. We go down here to MRI markers of MSA. So MSA, P and C are different. I have MSA-P. Over time, we all develop a bit of both, right? MSA-P for Parkinsonism, MSA-C for cerebellum, and the long-vanished MSA-A for autonomic, because everybody with MSA gets autonomic failure. So really, there's just two of them from now on, MSA-P and MSA-C. So MSA-P, I know from multiple DAT scans and PET scans that I have issues with my Pudeman and caudate signal decrease on iron sequences. They give you radiation to stop dopamine, and they can see the activity that's not happening in your Pudeman and caudate, in your caudate's nucleus, your nucleus caudate. Middle cerebral pinnacle, pons, and cerebellum. They're talking about atrophy, shrinkage, lack of activity, right? You're getting extra white matter where you're not supposed to have. You get absence of matter. Your brain, literally, your tissues and membranes are shrinking away from the full capacity brain, the parts of the brains they're talking about. Hot cross bun sign, right? If you have that, you have MSA. That is the de facto number one way, post-mortem autopsy, we can tell if we have MSA. Increased diffusivity of Pudeman in middle cerebral pinnacle. Activity is not happening how it's supposed to, or it's absent. MSA-C is a bit of the same as Pudeman in frontal structures, the pons and middle cerebral pinnacle. So they can see atrophy. They can see the white mass and gray mass and the black matter where it's all shrinking, it's intermixing with how it's not supposed to. And again, you get the hot cross on sign and increase the diffusivity of the Pudeman. So, the MSA-C and P are very similar, except that MSA-P we have to deal with the pons, and the Pudeman is more at play, and the caudate are more at play with the MSA-P, and the MSA-C is mostly back here at the cerebellum level. So, if you have any of those, markers, there you go, right? That tells you the MSA. Of course, on the clinically established MSA at the top left, autonomic dysfunction, right? Autonomic dysfunction, unexplained voiding difficulties, number 2, urinary issues, number 1, incontinence, can't hold pee or poop back, neurogenic orthostatic hypertension, right? 3 minutes of standing after 3 minutes, right? It's different criteria how bad it is. And you just need one of those, and I have all of those. And then at least one of the bottom, at least one of poor levodopa-carbidopa response to Parkinsonism. I don't react to medication. When I first had carbidopa-levodopa, I told my doctors, I said it took the edge off of it a little bit to make it bearable for about a couple months, and then it went away. And then I didn't notice anything of my medication. I have new medication now that they started me on. I reacted fairly well to it, not great, but good. And now it's wearing off because everything's coming back, and I've only been on it for about 2 or 3 months, right? We don't react to medication. That's why we die quicker than Parkinson's. Parkinson's, you don't die because you react well to medication. Therefore, you live longer because your organs and things like that don't fail, like in MSA, because we don't react well to medication, or we don't react at all. So I do have a poor response to any Parkinson's type medication. In the cerebral syndrome, at least 2 of the gait ataxia, limitaxia, cerebral dysarthria, and oculomotor features. I have all of those. The cerebral dysarthria, I'm not sure about, but the oculomotor features, I do have double vision. I see sideways. I see three of everything sideways. But it's not enough for me to get prisms on my glasses or anything like that. It's a nuisance more than it is a hindrance. And I do have the gait ataxia and limitaxia. So, these are things that just happen with MSA. So if you fit that criteria, you meet these things, you have MSA, right? You have to have it. Is it possible you meet all this criteria and it's something else? Yes, there are some lookalike diseases and disorders that look and smell like MSA, but they're not. But you would have to have multiple, compounding diseases to make you look like MSA. If you meet all those criteria, you have to have this, that, and that, all happening at once, which would make no sense, which is extremely rare. It's so rare we call it probably impossible, right? Mathematically. But do these things happen? They do, but not very often. So, if you fit these, then you know that you have MSA. You don't have to look any farther. I mean, but you have to be real with yourself. You just can't say, "Oh, I had a bad night of sleep, therefore I have RBD, REM behavior disorder." I've seen people say this. I've seen people say, "Oh, I have chest pains. Do I have MSA?" You know, because they maybe they have a hard time going pee. Well, you know, people have lots of reasons for having a hard issue with urinary. A lot of kids pee to bed when they're young. Does that mean they have MSA? No, of course not. Have you ever had an accident on yourself as an adult? Does that mean, sure? Have you ever does that mean you have MSA? No, right? Have your blood pressure ever risen before because maybe you were into a fight or you have anxiety or whatever? Does that mean you have MSA? No, but this is what you see with people online. They cherry pick 1, 2, 3 things that they have, and they're like, oh, since I see it, therefore I am. You know, they read things online and they make themselves believe they have something they don't have. All these things here can be tested for, all of them. Even looking at, if you go to the second page of the clinically established MSA, in the middle, top of the page, supportive motor features. This is big, right? Rapid progression within 3 years of motor onset. I have had MSA for practically 3 years, and it has been very rapid. My walking, my talking, my swallowing, my throat, my lungs, my oxygen capacity, my feet, my blood pressure, my eyes, everything has happened so quickly in 3 years. And I was 41 when I had it. 41. And 44, I should not have anything. If I had Parkinson's, it would take much longer because I would be reacting well to medication, at least for a while, right? Moderate to severe postural instability within 3 years of my onset. I have started slouching so much. I don't swing my hands when I walk. My posture is, I forget the term for it, but it's, you know, old people crouching forward. You know, I should be much further back and standing up proper posture, but it doesn't work that way. Posture goes very much forward. We start to look like we're 80 or 90 years old with our posture instead of me being 44. You can tell. Craniocervical dystonia induced by exacerbated levodopa in the absence of lymphokinesia. That's a whole nother topic. That, you know, sometimes curative levodopa medications for Parkinson's can make things worse. Which can cause some of these things. Severe speech impairment within 3 years of motor onset. This is the best speaking I can do, with nobody around me, no crowd, no family, no interference, no anxiety, no nothing. And I'm still slurring my way to the speech. I'm trying my best. I'm speaking fast like I used to, but severe speech impairment within 3 years is not great, right? If you remember from my other videos, my left vocal cord is completely paralyzed. It does not work anymore. I'm speaking to you with one vocal cord, my right one, and I'm yelling right now because if I don't yell, I speak too soft, and everyone's like, "Why are you whispering for?" So, you know, that is a severe impairment within 3 years, and it has happened. Unexplained Babinski sign. I'm not sure what Babinski sign is. I would have to look that one up. Jerky myoclonic postural or kinetic tremor, right? I don't have really resting tremors. I always feel like I have a washing machine inside of me. The tremors, but you don't see them on the outside very much. The only time you see the tremors is action tremors, lifting, pushing, pulling, carrying things, trying to eat, things like that. Action tremors is what you see from me. But it's very interesting that the myoclonic is something I just recently started having for at least for a year or so. I've been getting more and more of these myoclonic jerks. Started noticing them during the day. I would react to anything, to you reaching out to me, to TV, watching movies. They punch, I punch, they kick, I kick. It's the weirdest things in the world to react. Your body's like, like you're watching a boxing match or a soccer match, right? And you go to kick the ball, and you literally, your leg starts to kick like you're mimicking the TV. Those are myoclonic jerks that are just weird and crazy. And even much more so if you have those during the day. Put a camera on yourself at nighttime because it will be even worse at nighttime. I have a video up there about myoclonic jerking, and it is horrible. The average person will jerk about 40 times a night, up to 40 times a night. It's normal for adults. We move. I jerk 87 times an hour. You're talking 700 to 800 times a night. That's not normal. So that's why they talk about these myoclonic jerks, because the protein is being deposited in other places on your spinal cord. You can check it out on my YouTube video if you want to. And postural deformities. Again, posture is everything. Once a person starts to tilt forward in posture, even having like leaning tower pizza syndrome, leaning tower pizza syndrome, we're going to one side. Posture is everything. Also, it tells you a lot about diseases, what you have and what you don't have, right? So you have to be careful. One of the biggest things about having MSA is if you have stridor. Stridor is the biggest one. All doctors will agree. If you have stridor, there's something significantly wrong with you that's affecting your whole breathing mechanisms, and it points towards MSA as long as you meet some of these other criteria. I've always heard stridor is number one. But if you have RBD, if you've had REM behavior disorder proven, or these cameras at nighttime watching you, you're trying to punch you in your sleep, and stuff like that. Yeah, RBD is going to tell you that you have something at Parkinsonism or Parkinson's, right? Parkinson's plus. You have something. It's just what is it? It's not normal to have RBD at all. RBD is from a lack of dopamine. I've been bipolar for a long time, and bipolarism is a lack of dopamine as well. So, dopamine does a lot of things in our body. Google it, look it up. It does an awful lot of things for our body that most people don't understand. But to conclude, if you want to know, do I have MSA? Might I have MSA, or could it be possible that I would have MSA? You go to the Movement Disorders website and you look for let me show you the title of it. Is the Movement Disorder Society criteria for diagnosis of multiple system atrophy. It's on the webpage. It's from April 21st, 2022. It is the most accurate document you can have for diagnosing MSA. Right? It amazes me how there's so many doctors that will not look at something like that because they don't know about MSA. We'll give it to them. They've learned about it in school, in medical school, but they haven't seen it in real life, and they'll think you have something completely different, like my other good friend has. Right? They're saying she might have something else, and yeah, I'm like, but she has all these autonomic features that you don't get with Parkinson's up front that quickly because they react well to medication. So some doctors just dismiss things because they don't know. It doesn't make them a bad doctor or a bad person. You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you're wondering, do I have MSA? This is the document for you. But the problem is, you have to be truthful to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to the doctor. You can't exaggerate to you or your doctor. You have to be honest. Do I actually have urinary incontinence, or am I just waiting too long to go to the bathroom like a child? Right? You have to be honest with yourself. And if you can be, this document will be absolutely helpful for you. Right? It will be a guiding light for you for MSA. So I appreciate you. Hope you enjoy it. And if you do, share it, like it. I'll see you next video. Thank you very much.